Generation C is not age-bound. Usually we talk about generations looking at when people were born. Generation C is the consumer generation, and they come from all age groups. These are the people who inhabit the online life. They live online, they sleep with their computers, they have YouTube channels, and they do all sorts of things online. And it's important that as university leadership, we learn how to this generation, because this generation, information is immediate, it's available, it's immediate, the influence is huge. Even though you don't see it physically, they can influence many people in seconds. And so we've got to know how to interact with them, how to reach them, and not be scared to get into their space and interact with them in that way. They do. I mean, they have different attitude, values, and expectations of leaders. In fact, they have no trust in leadership, in presidents, vice-chancellors, and whoever, CEOs. I mean, there's a little bit of mistrust about what leadership is for, who does it serve, and they can challenge it in a big way. Because of the world that they inhabit online. So it's important to understand how do you interact with them, because they are more motivated by social responsibility rather than profit or self-achievement. I mean, they want to serve a broader society rather than themselves. And so the arguments about profits and self-advancement do not always go down very well with Generation C. What they need is something that contributes to the greater good, and so they need leaders who can talk to that kind of value system. I mean, I took over at a time when the protest action was still going on. And they continued, by the way, until even 2019 in other universities, not in our university. But the first challenge was to build peace, to bring the university together, and to create a sense of calm in the university. And it's interesting because these are not things that you bring about by writing another policy document or procedures or guidelines. It's about how you make people feel, how you create an environment of respect, of recognition. And I had to do some of that work myself as a leader. Just going to residences and connecting with the students, having a meal with them, without them knowing that I'm coming, and I just come in and I sit with them, I move from table to table, talk to them about where do they come from, what their concerns are, what is it that they would like to see done differently. And I would do that not ceremonially. I would take notes and I would go back and say to my colleagues about things that need to change or be done differently. And once I've gone to one res, the students would write about it on social media, the other residents would say, what about us? And then I would go to another res. I went to the student societies as well. I mean, this is not a once-off thing. It's a continuing thing that I do all the time. I mean, coming up, I'm going hiking with a mountaineering club at UCT in October. But I've gone to the dance floor with our dance society, just at a time when they don't expect it. And then I pop in, then I see what they're doing, and then I join them. I dance because I used to be a competitive dancer myself. And so it's not something that's difficult to do. I climb Table Mountain with the students on a Saturday morning, so that the student experience me as a human being. To be a transformative leader, you have to be human. Students and the people you lead have to know that you also have days when you don't want to wake up. You've got days you get tired too. You also get thirsty. You also exercise like they do. And so doing those kind of things helped. My presence on social media also helps, because on social media, what I do, I communicate generally with everyone who follows me about the real things that I do. So I have a hashtag of the 3 a.m. squad. Every time I wake up in the morning, I post my inspirational message for the day. So the squad knows that I'm up and I'm getting ready. And the students have taken up the practice of clocking in. Once I update and I put my inspirational message, they clock in. We are here, Prof. We are working. And that goes. And there are days when I write there on my inspirational message that I don't feel like waking up today, but my goals wouldn't allow me to sleep, and so I woke up. I think it's a force for good, but it's got the good and the bad. It's very risky. I don't go to social media to get likes or to get people to agree with me. I have an agenda, and I'm very clear about my agenda. It's to share my journey. And I went into social media long before I became Vice-Chancellor. And even then, I had an agenda, and that agenda continues. And my agenda is that many young people look at me and they see success, and it looks unproblematic, it looks clean, it looks easy. And so I went into social media initially to communicate what makes what I am, so that they get to realize that you don't get to where I am right now without the hard work, without the sacrifice, without sometimes pushing yourself to work hard even when you don't feel like it. And so I continue with that agenda. And on social media, the bottom line is that you will get people who appreciate what you do, and you'll get people who don't. So occasionally I get people who say nasty things. I must resign, whatever. But of course, because there's a good as well, sometimes I don't have to respond. Sometimes actually getting messages like those is not a bad idea, because actually I can model to other young people how you respond to people like that. I can say to them, this is why I'm here. This is why I do what I do. That ends up being a positive for me, because it communicates the kind of leadership that I offer. And so the critiques are not a bad thing. The critiques, I see them as an opportunity, because they also communicate to the other people who didn't know this side of me. First, they can see I can handle critique. Second, they get to know other things that I wouldn't have had an opportunity just to talk about ordinarily. So it is a risky environment. And I don't stay on social media all the time. On an ordinary day at work, when I'm not at a conference or on holiday, I update in the morning and I leave it the whole day. At the end of the day, I check what happened, and then I respond to everything else, and then I leave it until the following day.